Inspiring daughter of a cook discovers a hidden call saves millionaire from a life-changing scam. Mia had always been the kind of person to see beyond the grease and grime of her father's diner. The smell of fried eggs and sizzling bacon filled the air, but her dreams were painted in bolder colors. She wanted to break free from the comforting routine, leave behind the clinking coffee cups, and make a mark on the world. Yet, her father's hard-working hands smeared with flour had taught her a vital lesson. Ambition often comes with a price. The sun was waning on a chilly fall afternoon when she spotted Daniel. His polished shoes gleamed like a beacon among the diner's well-worn booths. He held a coffee cup, each sip taken with the lavish confidence of a man who had conquered the world. But as Mia approached, her heart glanced at the insecurities hidden behind his charismatic smile. In that moment, she felt a tugging instinct to help him. Something stirred in her, a desire to fight against the looming shadows of deceit. "Mia, can you focus on the customers?" Her father's voice interrupted her thoughts, pulling her back to the task at hand. The ding of the register and the clatter of utensils blending into a symphony of normalcy. But even as he spoke, she couldn't shake the ache in her chest. She felt torn between loyalty to the diner and the spark of justice igniting within her. When Mia began to piece together Daniel's story, his struggles with con artists masquerading as partners, her spirit flared. She thought, if I can untangle this web of lies, maybe I can change his life, and somehow my own too. Yet, every time she tried to vocalize her plan, another round of coffee orders and the stress of the diner seemed to envelop her, quelling her ambitions. "Just keep your head down, Mia. Help me run this place," her father urged, a plea laced with concern and love. The diner was not just a business, it was their life. Those words tethered Mia, but her heart raced with the knowledge that something was wrong. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she dove deeper, uncovering a talent to reveal truths, a gift her father had instilled in her, pressure began to mount. The con artists retaliated, directing their venom toward the diner. Each whispered threat in the back of her mind rang louder than the clattering dishes, reminding her of what was at stake. Mia felt loneliness claw at her insides, yet she stood resolute, determined to rally her community. When the colorful tapestry of faces from the diner came together, she saw their strength reflected back at her. But the moment of reckoning loomed near. In a climactic scene that felt ripped from a movie, Mia would confront the con artists, armed with nothing but grit and determination. As she stood in front of the diner, she took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her father's dreams mingled with her own. Could she save Daniel and the diner? Did she have what it took to bridge the gap between family loyalty and personal ambition? As the sun set, illuminating the small town in golden hues, Mia's heart raced with the realization that their fight was just beginning. Mia stood at the entrance of the diner, her heart racing. The air was thick with tension, each breath connecting her to the gravity of what lay ahead. She glanced at the familiar faces of her customers, friends who had become her family over the years. They were oblivious to the storm brewing on the horizon, their laughter and chatter echoing like a fading melody. Taking another deep breath, Mia squared her shoulders. "I have to do this," she muttered, more to herself than anyone else. She could almost feel Daniel's presence behind her, his unwavering confidence urging her on. But this was more than just saving him. It was about saving herself too. She stepped back inside, her eyes scanning the diner for inspiration. The chalkboard featured the daily special, but Mia's mind raced with the idea of a special meeting right there, where hope and determination collided. "Hey, everyone," she called out, her voice shaking slightly. The sudden silence was palpable, as all eyes turned toward her. "I know things have been rough lately. We've been getting threats, and I can't just stand by anymore." Whispers circled around her, uncertain curiosity painted on their faces. Mia pushed herself to visualizing strength, as if she could draw it from the very walls of the diner. "I need your help," she continued, her voice gaining steadiness. "There are people trying to scam Daniel, using our diner as leverage. If we want to protect him and us, we need to unite and fight back." A flurry of murmurs erupted, but amid the chaos, an older woman named Betty stood. "Mia, you can't take this on alone. We all care about this place. We'll stand by you." "I may not know much about fighting scams, but I can help in other ways," chimed in Tom, a regular with a knack for technology. Mia's spirits lifted, sensing a shift in energy. They were a community, a family. "Let us do it then," she declared, her heart swelling with hope. "Let us plan. Let us gather information and figure out their next move." As they began to strategize, laughter replaced tension, and for the first time that day, she felt warmth fill the space. Together, they jotted down ideas and shared concerns, each voice adding to a chorus of determination. But even as the diner buzzed with renewed energy, Mia couldn't shake the dread creeping into her thoughts. Would it be enough? The con artists were ruthless and unpredictable. The following day, Mia and a few of her newfound allies set up a makeshift headquarters in the diner's backroom. Color-coded sticky notes lined the walls, mapping out the con artists' moves, tracing their connections. Daniel watched in awe and disbelief as Mia seamlessly transformed their upped stakes into a strategy. His admiration for her was palpable, and she felt a quiet bond forming, one based on shared purpose and determination. Yet, as they worked late into the night, a shadow lurked outside the diner. The con artists weren't going to take this lying down. That evening, Mia saw a silhouette passing by, instinct tightening her chest. She felt a chill, a warning whisper echoing through her mind. Something was coming. As she locked eyes with Daniel, she knew that everything they built was about to be tested. Would their effort hold against the impending storm? Would Mia's resolve be strong enough to protect the people she loved? With the weight of the world on her shoulders, she whispered into the night, "We can do this, but can we really?" The moment of truth was dawning, and Mia had to brace herself for whatever came next. The morning light filtered through the diner's windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Mia stood at the front, her heart thumping like a restless drum. The sticky notes were a chaotic tapestry of information, and though yesterday's camaraderie felt uplifting, the reality of the task ahead weighed heavily on her shoulders. "Okay, everyone, let us regroup," she called, trying to ignite the same spirit they had fostered the night before. Her allies gathered, ready but still harboring uncertainty. Daniel was front and center, his eyes steady and encouraging. Mia cleared her throat. "We've got a few key points we need to focus on. We need to figure out who the big players are in this scam and how they're using our diner to get to Daniel. This won't be easy, but I know we can do it together." Tom, ever the tech wizard, nodded enthusiastically. "I can start combing through any online records we have, see if there are unusual patterns or connections. If these guys are web-based, we can definitely sniff them out. And I can ask around town," said Betty, determination etched on her face. "People talk. I might pop into the bakery and see if anyone has heard anything suspicious." Mia smiled at them, each suggestion fueling her resolve. They were truly in this together. But beneath her confidence lay a gnawing fear. What if they weren't enough? What if they stirred up more trouble than they could handle? As they dispersed, Mia turned to Daniel. "Are you ready for this?" He met her gaze, a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. "Honestly, I'm terrified. But watching you, seeing you rally everyone, it gives me hope." With that confession, the air between them thickened. The tension of the past weeks melted, if only for a moment, and Mia felt an urge to reach out and squeeze his hand, to reassure him that everything would be all right. But time was fleeting, and they had a mission. Hours turned into a blur of frantic phone calls, scribbling, and planning. As the diner hummed with activity, the effort felt electric. Still, Mia couldn't shake the sense that something was looming just outside their world, waiting to strike. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the diner. The bell above the door jingled loudly as a group of rough-looking men entered. They didn't fit the usual crowd. The air grew thick with tension again, and Mia's heart sank. Daniel stiffened beside her as they observed the newcomers. He stepped closer to Mia, instinctively shielding her with his presence. "Stay calm," he whispered, but the tremor in his voice betrayed his nervousness. The men approached the counter, their faces obscured by dark sunglasses. One of them addressed Mia with a voice dripping with sarcasm. Heard you've been making some noise. You think you're going to save your little millionaire here? A chill snaked down Mia's spine. There was no longer just a threat. It was now real, staring at them from across the diner, eyes set in a predatory gaze. Back off, Mia said firmly, surprising herself. You have no idea who you're messing with. Daniel, adrenaline coursing through him, stepped beside her. He was learning to fight in his own way. But a slow smile crept across the leader's face, revealing the darkness beneath. Oh, sweetie, we know exactly what we're doing. And trust me, you'd be wise to leave things alone. Mia felt every ounce of her courage drain away. Were they really ready to face this? The doubts swirled again. What if today was too soon? What if their fight wasn't enough? Let us get started then, she said, her voice wavering yet resolute. Outside the diner, storm clouds gathered ominously, mirroring the tempest that raged within. They knew they were in for the fight of their lives against enemies who played for keeps. But Mia was determined to protect her family, her friends, and the community they had built. As the tension crackled with uncertainty, she whispered under her breath, "We have to stand together no matter what." But wouldn't it take more than courage to survive what was coming? The moment they had been dreading was here. Would they have the strength needed to overcome the darkness closing in? Mia's heart raced as the leader leaned closer, an unsettling grin spreading across his face. It sent a shiver through her spine. The diner, once a place of warmth and laughter, transformed into a battleground where fear loomed large. She sensed Daniel's presence next to her, strong and protective, a stark contrast to the danger that threatened them. With steady breaths, she met the man's gaze, searching for any sign of weakness, anything to exploit. She could feel her resolve hardening, her instincts kicking in. "Why don't you tell us what your game is?" The leader chuckled darkly, a sound that sent a chill through everyone still in the diner. "You're thinking too small. This isn't just about him," he sneered, gesturing toward Daniel. "This is about the bigger picture. People like you think they can change things. Cute, really. Just because you don't see the bigger picture doesn't mean it isn't there," Daniel shot back, his voice steadier than Mia felt. She glanced at him, admiration swelling in her chest. This was the man she believed in, and he was fighting back. The leader's smile faded momentarily, but then he regained his composure. "Careful, kid. You might regret poking the hornet's nest. But the more you dig, the more you'll find out that you're in way over your heads." Betty had cautiously moved to Mia's side, her face resolute, ready to stand shoulder to shoulder. "Why don't you take your little threats and leave?" she demanded, her voice rising above the murmurs of other patrons who were realizing the serious turn of events. "Or what? You'll call the cops?" The leader laughed, a harsh sound that echoed around the diner. "They'll be too busy to help a pathetic little diner like this." Tom, sitting at the corner of the counter with his laptop open, suddenly looked up, his face lit by the glow of the screen. "The cops won't ignore this. All I've got to do is press send," he said, his voice a mix of fear and defiance. "I've managed to gather some data on you already, and trust me, they'll be interested." Mia's breath caught in her throat. This was at the moment when everyone had to choose their side. She could feel the weight of the room, the tension palpable. Each heartbeat echoed thunderously in her ears. The leader's demeanor shifted slightly, his confidence wavering for just a beat. Mia seized the moment. "You think this diner is a joke? We're not afraid of you or your threats. We have each other, and we won't back down." Her words had ignited a fire in the hearts of her companions. Daniel's hand found hers, squeezing tightly. She could feel the solidarity among them, pulsing through their small yet mighty group. They were more than just a diner. They were a family. Suddenly, the air cracked with movement. Tom was slipping away from the counter, unsure but determined. He moved toward the door, ready to make a call, shifting the balance toward action. But before Mia could fully grasp what was happening, the leader's gaze darkened and hardened. "You really want to do this? You think you've won a little debate in a diner? This isn't just some game we're playing. You stand in the way of powerful people, and that's where it gets dangerous." With renewed resolve, Mia stepped forward, her voice cutting clear through the tension. "Then bring it on. If you think for 1 second that you can scare us away, you're dead wrong." Before the leader could respond, the diner door burst open, and a gust of wind swept through, sending napkins flying and clattering dishes into chaos. Mia's heart sank as she recognized the familiar silhouette under the harsh, flickering lights. Enough, came a commanding voice, crisp and unwavering. The newcomer stepped into the light, revealing their face, a face Mia hadn't seen in a long time, but one that was needed now more than ever. With uncertainty gnawing at her, Mia wondered what this unexpected return would change. Would this new arrival bolster their resolve, or complicate everything even further? The tension in the diner transformed as they awaited this sudden twist in their battle. Would they find the strength they needed to confront their enemies now? The figure stepped into the light, casting long shadows across the diner. Mia squinted, trying to reconcile her memories with the scene unfolding in front of her. It was Allie, her older sister, the carefree spirit who once filled their lives with laughter. But that spark seemed dimmed now, replaced with an intensity she had never seen before. Mia? Allie's voice rang out, deeper and more urgent than Mia remembered. Get everyone out of here now? What? Mia blinked, glancing at Daniel and the others, confusion and panic swirling in her chest. Allie had always been the adventurous one, but this wasn't the time for a family reunion. Please, just trust me, Allie insisted, her eyes darting toward the leader who was now wearing an expression of rage and disbelief. We don't have time to explain. Mia felt Daniel's hand tighten around hers, grounding her in a moment that threatened to spiral out of control. Whatever is happening here, we're in it together, he said, his voice steady. We can't just leave you behind. What's going on, Allie? Allie took a step forward, urgency propelling her words. That man isn't who you think he is. He is involved in something much bigger than this diner, and you're caught in the middle. It's dangerous. I need to help you before it's too late. The leader rolled his eyes at Allie's dramatic entrance, his confidence returning. You're in over your head, sweetheart. This isn't a game. You honestly think you can walk in here and save the day? Wow, he's really charming, Betty muttered under her breath, just loud enough for everyone to hear, which earned her a small smile from Tom that Mia's heart raced. Her sister was back, but the gravity of the situation felt suffocating. You can't just put this on us, Mia said, her voice firm. We're not afraid of you or your threats. But I need to know what you've gotten into, Allie. I'll explain everything, but we've got to move. Allie's voice cracked, and for a moment, Mia saw the vulnerable little girl she once protected. He has eyes everywhere. You need to trust me, please. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to save you all. Tom, still clutching his laptop, nodded resolutely. I'm not leaving without first uploading the evidence I've collected. He glanced at Mia, determination flickering in his eyes. We can't let them take our fight away. We have to expose them. Mia watched as tension crested in the room. Daniel pulled her a fraction closer, the warmth from his body grounding her resolve. What do we do next? He whispered, hoping for a plan to emerge from the chaos. I'll create a distraction, Allie blurted, her eyes narrowing at the leader. You all get out the back entry. Find safety and call for help. But you. Mia stepped forward, fear clawing at her gut like a wild animal. You can't stay here. They'll all hurt you. Allie met her gaze with fierce confidence. I can handle myself. We've been through worse together. Just go? Before they could respond, the leader took a step forward, filled with malice and mockery. This little reunion is quite touching, but I suggest you think twice about your next move. You don't know who you're dealing with. Mia's chest tightened as she felt the clock ticking. We can't let fear stop us, she whispered, adrenaline pushing her towards decision. One way or another, we'll face this together. As the group exchanged glances, Mia could see the uncertainty flash in those gathered around her. But as she looked back at Daniel, Allie, and the others, a wave of warmth surged through her. They had each other, and together, they were powerful. Then, fleetingly, across the chaos, a glimmer of steel caught her eye. It was a knife resting on the table, and in that moment, Mia realized they were no longer just victims. They were armed with resilience. Let us do this, she said, gathering her courage. But as she turned back to the leader, a roar of laughter erupted from him. You think you're ready for a fight? You have no idea what is coming next. The hair on her arms stood up as she sensed the impending storm. Would they be able to stand strong and face this darkness? Or would all of their newfound determination be in vain? Mia's heart thundered in her chest as Allie squared off against the leader. The diner felt like a pressure cooker, and all the eyes in the room were pinned between the two opposing forces, the tension thick enough to slice with that knife. "Please," Ali urged, "you have to trust me. You need to leave now. Or what? You'll fight us off with words." The leader sneered. His face twisted in a laugh that sent chills racing through Mia's spine. "You're all so cute, just a group of kids playing hero." "Enough," Mia shouted, the desperation pouring out of her. "We're more than that. We're standing up for ourselves." She glanced at the knife again. "And we'll do what we have to." Daniel stepped closer, his brow furrowed. "What is our escape route? We can't just stand here and let him toy with us." Ali took another step forward, her eyes blazing with determination. "There are more of them outside. This diner might be the last safe place. If we can stall him, it will give you enough time to slip away. But that puts you in danger." Mia protested, stepping closer to Ali. "I've been doing this a long time, Mia. I can handle myself." Ali's words were interrupted by the leader's menacing laugh. "Pathetic," he said, shaking his head. "You really think you can outsmart me with this charade? My people will be here any second. You won't even make it out of this diner." In that instant, a spark ignited inside Mia. She took a deep breath and reached for the knife, her fingers curling around its cold metal. The moment felt surreal, grasping a weapon in a dire situation where she was meant to be helpless. "Ali," Mia said, her voice steadier now, "trust me. Let us show them what we're made of." Ali's eyes widened in surprise, but a flicker of pride passed across her face. "Okay, let us do this." Mia spun towards the leader, the knife raised and glinting in the low light. "Don't come any closer. You don't know what we're capable of." The leader's expression morphed from amusement to irritation. "You think that little knife can scare me? You're wasting your breath." But Mia saw the realization strike him. He was no longer dealing with just a scared girl. Betty chimed in. "You can't underestimate what fear can do. And maybe that's your biggest mistake." Tom nodded, his fingers flying across the laptop, ready to execute his master plan at any moment. The leader scrutinized them, his bravado faltering. "Interesting play, but it won't help you." "Watch us," Mia said, invigorated by the weight of the knife in her hand. She stepped back slightly, keeping her stance defensive while giving Ali a signal to move. "Now," Ali shouted. The group sprang into action. Mia slashed toward the empty air between them and the leader, the movement causing him to flinch. Daniel and Tom practiced their own tactical retreat, edging toward the back door. As they darted through the cramped space, Mia felt the panic rise, a tidal wave threatening to drown out their courage. "Move, move," she urged, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Ali stayed put, planting herself between the leader and the group, unwavering. "Go," she shouted, fear laced with courage. Mia wanted to scream, to fight for her sister and her friends, but she could feel the weight of the world on her shoulders. "You're brave, Ali, but you can't hold him off forever. It's my turn, Mia. Just go." And with one last glance, Mia bolted toward the exit, her heart slamming against her ribcage like a drum. As they reached the door, the sound of shouting erupted behind them, panic mixed with rage. Would Ali be all right? What awaited them beyond the safety of those diner walls? Mia shoved the door open, and the world outside seemed foreign and terrifying. Would they make it? Would they find safety? Or would the chase begin anew? The shadows that loomed over the diner now stretched over them as they fled into the unknown. Mia burst through the door, the cool night air hitting her face like a splash of ice water. The street stretched out in front of them, dark and shadowy, lined with trees that whispered secrets in the wind. She turned back just in time to see Ali stand her ground, a defiant silhouette against the bright lights of the diner. The cacophony inside was a jagged reminder of the danger they had left behind. "Mia, keep running," Daniel urged, his breath coming out in quick gasps. She couldn't shake the dread pooling in her stomach. "What about Ali?" Tom, feverishly tapping away on his laptop as they sprinted, glanced back. "We can't help her now. She'll find a way. We have to focus on getting out of here." Mia felt the weight of indecision claw at her, but Daniel's hand closed around her wrist. "We need to go. She has got this. Trust her." They ran, dodging shadows and navigating the empty streets. Mia focused on putting one foot in front of the other, the pulse of fear quickening her heart. With each step, she ventured deeper into the unknown, the night electric with anticipation, danger, and possibility. "Where do we even go?" she gasped, suddenly aware of their disorientation. The diner was now a fading memory behind them, but their path forward was unclear. Tom lowered his laptop slightly. I have a map of the area. There's a park about a mile away. If we can get there, I think we can figure something out. Why a park? Mia shouted, the question emerging before she could stop it. It's less crowded, and we might find a place to hide, or, he fumbled for words, desperation creeping into his voice, to think. We can't just run blind like this. Mia nodded, understanding the urgency layered in his voice. Fine. Lead the way. As they pushed forward, the shadows seemed to stretch and warp, giving life to every creak and rustle in the night. Mia glanced over her shoulder, half expecting to see the leader's menacing face, but only found empty streets and old lampposts casting long shadows. Do you think Allie will be okay? She asked, biting her lip, her heart clenched with worry. Daniel exhaled sharply. Allie can handle herself. She's tougher than she looks. Yet, doubts swirled in Mia's mind. What if she hadn't been tough enough this time? Finally, they reached the edge of the park, illuminated by the soft glow of moonlight filtering through the trees. The cool grass underfoot felt like a sigh of relief, but the worries still clung like damp air after rain. All right, Tom whispered, pulling them into the sparse cover provided by a cluster of trees. We need to regroup and decide our next move. The trio huddled together, urgent expressions swapping with anxious glances. Mia could feel the tension in the air, but something caught her eye, a small figure lingering under a distant streetlight. Her heart raced. Was it more trouble headed their way? Do you see that? She murmured, pointing. What? Daniel squinted. It's probably nothing, but as they watched, the figure stepped out of the shadows, and Mia's breath hitched in her chest. Oh no, it looks like trouble. Just then, the figure turned, and she noticed the familiar outline of someone from their past, someone who shouldn't be here at all. Mia, it's time to decide. Are we going to take a stand or keep running? With her heart pounding, she heard the challenge in his voice, and as she looked back at her friends, she felt the weight of what could be lost if they didn't take action. In that moment, everything hung in the balance, and she knew they had to figure it out together. Yet, as the figure approached, a chilling realization settled over her. Was this person a friend or an enemy? The path ahead began to feel as complex as her thoughts. Who is it, Mia? Do you know them? Daniel pressed, but the answer felt out of reach. The night was far from over, and a new chapter was about to begin, one that would change everything. Mia squinted through the darkness, her mind racing. The figure stepping into the light was familiar, but also blurred by time and memory. Heart thudding against her ribcage, she tried to piece together who it was. I think it's Ryan, she whispered, words catching in her throat. Are you sure? Tom's voice split the night, laced with a mix of skepticism and hope. What is he doing here? Maybe he came to help? Daniel suggested, but reality edged his voice, pulling deeper into uncertainty. Or maybe he was dragged into this mess. Mia swallowed hard, the rush of conflicting emotions leaving her dizzy. Ryan had been a close friend once, someone who understood her dreams and fears. A sudden memory flashed in her mind: laughter at summer barbecues, sharing stories under the stars. But things changed. Friendships sometimes vanished like smoke, replaced by acrimony and suspicions. As Ryan drew nearer, the tension grew palpable. He looked worn, thin, and frayed around the edges, as though he'd just stepped out of a storm. Mia felt a pang of concern mixed with reluctance. Did she really want to trust him again? Mia, Ryan called, his voice echoing with a desperate urgency. You need to listen to me. Why should we? Daniel shot back, shifting to protect Mia instinctively. You could be working with them. No. Ryan took another step forward, hands raised in surrender. I came to warn you. I know what they're planning. We don't have much time. Planning for what? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper, all the while her heart fluttered between hope and fear. There's a group after you. They want something you have. He glanced around as if the trees themselves had ears. It goes deeper than you think. I've been trying to find you for weeks, to get you out before it's too late. The weight of his words settled heavily in the air. Everyone instinctively drew closer together, forming a makeshift barrier against a threat they hardly understood. Mia felt the flicker of trust struggle against years of hurt and anger. What do you know, Ryan? His eyes searched hers, earnest and pleading. It's about the records. The ones from the diner that Allie exposed. Those papers aren't just safe anymore. They're a target. As he spoke, Mia couldn't help but remember her friend brave, fiercely loyal Allie, standing down the danger alone when they should have been by her side. A rush of guilt coursed through her veins. If they were all in danger, then Allie was trapped in the middle of it. If we want to help her, we need to act, Tom said, sharpening his focus. But I'm not just going to trust him, neither am I, she declared, finding her voice again. But we can't ignore the truth if it's out there. Look, I can lead you to a safe place where we can regroup, Ryan pressed urgently, a fire igniting in his gaze. But you have to decide now. As Mia caught Daniel's eye, she felt the gravity of their situation. There was no more room for hesitations or doubts. They needed a plan. Okay, we'll go with you. But if this is a trap, Daniel began, his eyes narrowing. Mia sensed the weight of her friend's trust resting on her shoulders. She had to find a way forward. Let us hurry. If Allie is still in there, she needs us, Mia said, the passion rekindling in her voice. They were a team, bound by the same fears but ignited by something more profound, a shared courage. The shadows quivered around them, shadows trailing a past that could either shackle them or set them free. As they stepped out from their cover, the air crackled with trepidation, pushing them forward. The question loomed large in Mia's mind. Could following Ryan lead them into salvation or disaster? And with every step they took into the coming dark, she knew they were about to find out. The shadows clung to them as they walked, each step pulling them deeper into the heart of uncertainty. Ryan led the way, glancing back over his shoulder often, as if the darkness itself held secrets ready to swallow them whole. Mia felt her heart race. She didn't know if she was following a friend or a ghost, a flicker from a past she thought was too broken to return. They moved swiftly, urgency prickling at the back of Mia's neck. The forest, once a familiar playground, now felt like a labyrinth of danger. How did you find us? She asked, trying her best to keep her voice steady. I have my ways, Ryan replied, his jaw tight with the weight of unspoken truths. I've been monitoring the group. They aren't just after those records. They want to wipe out anyone connected to Allie, and apparently, that includes you. Mia felt a chill sweep over her. What do you mean? They think it's all connected, Ryan continued, running a hand through his hair, frustration evident. That the diner's documents hold secrets tied to something much larger. You're the link to those secrets, and they won't stop until they get what they want. Each word burdened Mia more than the last. She wished she could turn back the clock to happier times, when her world was defined by laughter rather than fear. What do they want with me? She whispered, half expecting to wake up from a terrible nightmare. Power. Control. They believe there's more to the diner records than anyone realized. And you? He hesitated, taking a breath that felt heavy like a storm approaching. You're tied to it. That's why I came. I couldn't just let them take you without a fight. Daniel kept pace beside Mia, his expression hardening with resolve. We can't let fear consume us. We have to reach Allie. If this is bigger than us, then we need to fight together. You're right, Mia finally said, her voice growing stronger. Allie is our priority. Ryan turned to face them, his eyes aflame with urgency and fear. Then we need to reach that safe place. I've secured a cabin nearby. It'll give us time to breathe and plan. The name of a safe place, a refuge, ignited a flicker of hope in Mia's heart. But just as quickly, she was reminded of Allie, who was still out there, alone and vulnerable. She wanted to call out for her friend, to draw her back into the circle of safety, but the weight of their mission bore down on her. What if they find us first? Tom asked, his voice barely above a whisper as they hurried along narrow paths. They won't, Ryan replied with fierce determination. I've covered my tracks, but we must move faster. We can't lose more time. As they traversed the winding paths, the trees loomed high above them, their branches forming twisted shadows overhead. Mia could almost hear the thud of her heartbeat mingling with the rustling leaves. The night was an echo of her growing anxiety, and she hoped against hope that Allie was safe. Desperate moments had a way of unveiling true courage, and Mia felt it swelling within her. With every step alongside her friends, Mia defined their purpose. They weren't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for Allie and for the unity they once cherished. No matter what waits for us at that cabin, she declared, we face it together. Suddenly, a sound shattered the night, a low rumble, and then the ominous crack of a branch snapping. They froze, adrenaline flooding their veins. What was that? Tom exclaimed, eyes darting to the dark forest around them. Ryan's face became a mask of concentration, scanning the shadows. Stay close, he instructed, raising his voice just above a whisper. We might not be alone. As they pressed on, the urgency to reach safety grew more desperate. The question rolled in Mia's mind like a storm: would they make it to the cabin unscathed, or was danger lingering just beyond the edge of the light? With this realization, she gripped Daniel's hand, willing herself to push forward despite the tightening grip of fear. The cabin could either be their sanctuary or the beginning of their nightmare. And as they plunged deeper into the night, they knew in their hearts that the real challenge was only just beginning. The cabin loomed ahead, its silhouette flickering under the moonlight, standing sentinel amidst the darkened trees. It felt like a beacon of hope, yet the shadows and uncertainty clung to Mia, whispering doubts in her ear. They hurried up the path, adrenaline coursing through their veins, but with every crunch of twigs underfoot, she half expected to hear pursuing footsteps trailing behind them. Ryan reached the door first, pushing it open to reveal a modest room shrouded in the scent of aged wood and mustiness. Quick inside, he urged, ushering everyone in. The moment they crossed the threshold, the weight of the outside world slipped away like an old coat, yet dread lingered in the air. They crowded around a dimly lit corner, breathing heavily as Mia scanned her friends' faces. Each was painted with concern, but also a fierce resolve that ignited something deep inside her. This wasn't just about survival. It was about standing strong. We need a plan, Mia said, her voice steadier than she felt. Allie is counting on us. Tom flipped open his laptop, a pulse of light illuminating the anxious expressions surrounding him. I've got info compiled about that group. If we can analyze their movements, we might figure out what they want after us. Great. Mia started to speak, but Ryan cut in with urgency. It's not just about the diner records. There's something deeper going on, and we all have to be careful. Their reach goes farther than we think. Mia felt her stomach twist. Fear is a powerful enemy. She glanced at Daniel, who met her gaze with firm reassurance. With everyone here, we can combat this together, he said, squeezing her hand. Right then, she knew she wasn't alone. Okay, she replied, rallying her courage. Let us break it down. We have to identify their leaders and understand how to strike back safely. The group nodded, and Mia felt a spark of unity surge through the cabin like electricity. They worked in tandem, pouring through the data Tom had gathered. As he tapped away, the room buzzed with quiet intensity, voices overlapping as they brainstormed next steps. The tension in the air began to morph, stirring them into action instead of fear. Everything they had endured, every threat, each sleepless night, had led them to this moment. And then came the sound, an ominous knock. A jolt of fear coursed through the group. They froze, glancing at each other with wide eyes. What was that? Betty whispered, her face pale. Stay quiet, Ryan instructed, peering through a cracked window. Whoever it is, they can't know we're here. Mia's heart hammered as her mind raced. What if it's Allie? We can't just leave her out there. Daniel protested, voice low but fervent. If it is her, she'll know how to get in, Ryan replied, urgency pressing on them like a weight. The knocking grew louder, more insistent. Panic flickered across Mia's chest as she whispered, we have to do something. Suddenly, a shout pierced through the night. Mia, it's me. It was Allie's voice, raw and desperate. The realization felt like a stone lifted from her chest. Allie. Mia rushed for the door without thinking. Wait. Ryan pulled her back, but the urgency in her heart pushed her forward. Mia flung the door wide, and there stood Allie, breathless with a mix of fear and determination. I'm so glad you're all okay. I thought I lost you. Mia ran into her sister's embrace, relief flooding her as they stumbled back into the cabin, the haunting past replaced by their bond. But quickly, they moved back inside, closing the door against the encroaching darkness. What happened? Tom asked, concern etching his face. I tried to hold them off, Allie replied, rubbing at her arms as if shaking away the cold. They're looking for all of you. We have to act fast. As she spoke, Mia felt a shift inside. This was it, the choice between shrinking away or rising up together. We're stronger united, she declared, glancing around at the determination etched in each face. Let us fight for what's ours for each other. Ryan nodded, eyes alight with conviction. They've underestimated us. If we pool our knowledge and skills, we can expose them. All right, let us do this. Mia rallied, feeling surges of hope wrap around her like a warm blanket. A collective energy filled the room, binding them into something greater. Mia reached for the old map hanging on the wall. This diner has been a stronghold of our community. If we can rally everyone there, make a real stand against them, they can't mess with us anymore. Exactly, Allie chimed in, her eyes glinting with excitement. Let us show them our strength. We'll call on everyone and prepare for the fight. Daniel stepped forward, confidence rising in his voice. Let us find out what their operation looks like. If we map out their movements, we can use it to our advantage. They gathered closer together, invigorated by the notion of fighting back instead of running. The sound of the night faded as hopes swelled to tackle the pressure waiting outside. They were family, tied by dreams, fear, and an unshakable bond that as sunrise painted the horizon with hues of gold. Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose ignite in her. They weren't just defending a diner, they were standing for their people, their futures. They would unite, fight, and save what mattered most to them. With one last look at each other, they prepared to face the obstacles ahead. Their moment had arrived, and now was the time to show the world the strength of their hearts. It was finally time to turn the tide. Mia felt empowered, ready to embark on this mission, filled with love and courage. A journey had begun, but she was ready to tackle it, armed with hope and her family beside her. Don't let fear dictate your path. Stand up for what you believe in, just like Mia and her community did. If you've been inspired by Mia's incredible journey, here's your chance to take action now. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait, not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.